Diagonal Assassin is a deck that has started as a me build that has now turned into my favorite build in the game due to how stupidly it just works. The main synergy of the deck is the way that, while in green, Rolling Slash, Splitting Strike, and Sever Artery turn Assassin into a range 3 character when standing at the diagonal, while also giving you an insane offensive mix-up with Umbra Volt beating all offensive options, counterattack going under blocks, and even having the option to simply block and instant replace into Feint Cut when you see an opening. Overall, the deck is extremely offensive, being able to threaten 2 wounds and bleeds in almost all of its attacks, with the remaining few being extremely hard to block and made deadly by the plethora of instant additionals. The deck is able to easily win off of bleeds, but sometimes you could close out games in a few turns by simply landing an attack, using Disarming Gaze, then just wailing on the opponent with all you have. And you get to be this aggressive while almost never having to be melee with the opponent. However, sadly the deck does struggle when the opponent tends to have the tools to constantly close in. Core attacks that move after attacking like Naginata Sweep and Carve, Wakizashi Slice, and Katana Swing can become big problems, and when your opponent is playing this way you have to abuse the sheer amount of fast 2 wounds you have. The deck heavily relies on the distance for its defense, so characters that swing a lot in their range 1 diagonals like Kojiro and Warrior will require you to play at a farther range, and usually require a completely different positioning game plan if you want to avoid all of a character's attacks. The deck still does thrive in a huge variety of situations though. At range 3, you can usually set yourself up to face the opponent at a diagonal and begin threatening the diagonal 3, Rolling Slash, Splitting Strike, and Sever Artery. Depending on which character you're playing against, you might or might not want to be here, or at least might not want to be directly in front of the opponent. Characters that spit lunging thrusts like it is nothing will love you staying at this range in front of them, but very few characters have anything to fight against a diagonal range 3. Abuse this in every matchup you can. It is a sacred piece of safety. At range 2, you can either be facing your opponent or be at a diagonal. No matter what though, you want your opponent to expect Umbra Volt. Umbra Volt is basically a range 2 forest step, Feint Cut shenanigans at all, and yes, it is as crazy as it sounds. You are much less safe at this range, as most characters can attack you from here, but that is why your Umbra Volt mix-up is so important. I mean, you don't care about a cross kick if the opponent is kicking 2 hexes behind you and putting themselves into prime Rolling Slash range. If you are melee with the opponent, you have 2 options. Either be a coward and run away, or give the opponent the worst schmicks of their life.
I'm gonna block this whack-ass mix-up.
Forest Step and Pivots are probably the most terrifying combination of things to face from an opponent looking at you, and the fact that you also have a Speed 9 runaway attack makes it even sweeter. You usually get into this range if your opponent is at 4 wounds with something like a Shadow Step, and that usually just means game over if the opponent doesn't have an E defense, and if they do, you just backstep into a diagonal. Now, all of this may seem nice, but you may not think that 2 wounds is enough of a threat. Maybe you don't want your opponent to piss their pants, but to shit them too. Well, for that, we have 3 Disarming Gaze, 2 Twist the Knife, and 1 Advantage. Advantage there is an easy to proc way to get advantage in case your opponent got off a Warcry, or just stole advantage in any way, or they are just playing Ninja. But Twist the Knife and Disarming Gaze is where it gets spicy. These both let you hit an attack and then turn into concealment as if nothing ever happened, while also giving you some really strong benefits. Twist the Knife makes the opponent bleed cards equal to their wound amount +1, usually bleeding 3 to 4. It also lets you backstep, making the opponent much less incentivized to try and catch you on your attack if they were trying that for some reason. And combined with the innate backsteps of Viper Strike and Venomous Slice, this goes from, oh, I made some distance again, to try and catch me before you bleed out, or oh wait, never mind, I just Rolling Slashed and killed you. And though Disarming Gaze does not have the same distance making, it still serves 2 pivotal roles in the deck aside from just getting concealment. Getting focus is oftentimes very important, and though you can build it easily, you will be stuck in green unable to farm it most of the game. So this and River Block become very valuable focus resources for your Twisted Knives, Viper Strikes, and occasional Divine Inspirations. But the bigger deal is that it makes the opponent discard a defense. I cannot exaggerate how devastating this can be to land on an early game opponent, as if they did not prepare Calm Defense, there's a chance you snipe their 1 prepared field bandages and then get to put the opponent on an instant clock. And even if that does not happen, you still get to remove a defensive option from an opponent, allowing your melee schmicks to keep up. So for a quick rundown, most of the deck is built for the diagonal threat and the Umbra Volt and the melee mix-ups. Cards that hit a diagonals, the pivot up close, variable initiative attacks, and of course, a meditation that goes behind the opponent when you feel ballsy. There are also cards that help you defend while getting into the matchup's desired range. A copy of Circling Defense and Calm Defense, 2 River Block, 2 Graceful Step, and 2 Smoke Bomb may seem like a pitiful defensive lineup, and it kind of is, but with the E defenses being almost always viable with your hand size and draw power, and the general lack of offensive options most opponents will have, you will still be okay. The instant additionals, the full golds lineup, Warcry for another advantage source and gap closing, a field band just because you gotta, and there you go. A full 40 card list ready to kick ass. Now, the deck is not nearly as straightforward as it may seem. You have to really abuse your opponent's blind spots. You have to know when to actually commit and when to threaten, and as a squishy character, you will get punished more than others for any wrong guesses you make. Don't take risks, in short. Always make it so that the opponent has everything to lose and you have everything to gain. Take into account all the options that your opponent might have and dodge them all like the footsie's master that you were always born to be. Feel free to check out some other lists if this one didn't fit your fancy, play Senjutsu, and find the decklist in the description. Goodbye.